If you're a fan of ReZero, you should be watching the ReZero shorts. Now, for those that don't know, these are like chibi 3-minute long episodes where the various ReZero characters are just messing around, but even though they're messing around, it's quite informative because a lot of the time you get cut out content, stuff like lore, how does the world work? You can find these episodes on Crunchyroll or other sites, wink wink. If you've watched Isekai Quartet, it's very similar to that as well, which keep in mind we're going to be getting Isekai Quartet Season 3 soon. So why am I talking about the shorts? What's so important about it? That's because we've just gotten a major revelation in the latest episode. The episode in question focuses around Aldebaran. You'll know from my episode analysis, I've talked about how Aldebaran is a shady character based on the information he knows. And in this ReZero short episode, which again is only 3 minutes long, Ao's history and his past is finally revealed to Subaru. Now, for those that know what that history is, well, that should have been revealed to us in Season 1 of the ReZero anime, but it was cut content. But now, people speculated it'll be in ReZero Season 3, but so far it hasn't appeared in the first 4 episodes. However, it's now been revealed in a random ReZero short. So if you're a ReZero anime watcher, I highly recommend you go watch the episode now, because I'm going to be talking about it. So check the pinned comment. I'm going to give a quick synopsis for those that did not watch the episode, but the episode starts with Subaru asking Aldebaran why does he call him bro. And essentially what Ao does is he says a few expressions. These expressions are Japanese expressions, and Subaru knows the answer to them. From that, Subaru realizes that Aldebaran must be from Japan. And Subaru's like, oh my god, like you didn't tell me this. And Aldebaran is like, well, I thought you knew. And of course Subaru is trying to explain the situation to Beatrice, who doesn't understand what's going on. But Subaru and Ao say they're from the same hometown. They don't say they're from a different world. Not only that, we then hear Ao say that the only person he's met that's from a different world is of course Subaru himself, and Ao reveals that he's been in this world for 19 years now. Now do keep in mind this does make some sense because of course in the original manga and light novel Ao said 18 years, but now it's been 19 years because of the 1 year time skip. Because this reveal has been delayed by a year in ReZero time. But not only that, there's one more serious and suspicious thing Ao says. The suspicious thing that Ao says is when he says, make sure you always protect my bro. That bit's not suspicious, it's the fact that he says Byakuo afterwards. Now for those that don't know, Byakuo is the nickname that Subaru gives to Beatrice. So the question is, why is Aldebaran using that nickname for Beatrice? Beatrice of course says that only Subaru can call her that. And then Ao says something very, very ominous afterwards. Ao responds by saying, yeah, I know. And then he goes on to say, all too well. Which doesn't make sense. How does he know that Beatrice doesn't want other people to call her Byakuo? How does Aldebaran know that only Subaru is allowed to call Beatrice with that nickname? It doesn't really make sense because this is the first time where Aldebaran actually calls Beatrice Byakuo. Keep in mind, Ao has never met Beatrice before. This is the first time they're meeting, because she was in the mansion. And since the 1 year time skip, Subaru's not met with Ao. So how does Ao know the nickname? Maybe he heard it from Subaru himself, but why does Ao sound so sad when he's saying this? Again, this does lead to the sort of Subaru and Aldebaran are the same person theory, because they're very similar, and that's the reason why Aldebaran's covering his face. But again, it's extremely ominous. So something I want to talk about that many people have missed is that when this information was first revealed, it It was when, of course, Subaru jumps in Priscilla's carriage and they go to the royal selection. This is, of course, when Subaru makes a fool out of himself, and then, he argues with Emilia, and so on and so forth. You guys know what happened in Season 1. But in this interaction, this is when Ao actually says to him, look, you were summoned as well, I know how you feel, blah blah blah. And what is missed in this 3-minute short is we don't get Priscilla's reaction and her comments, where she states that there are talks where people say they've come from beyond the Great Waterfall. And then it gives us a beautiful shot of the ReZero world. And this is where we learn that the ReZero world is actually flat. And at every side of the world, there's a great waterfall, which just falls down. And Priscilla talks about the fact that some people claim to come from beyond the edges of the world. And Aldebaran and Subaru are from beyond the world. Okay? But this is not in the 3-minute long episode, and it's a shame. Now, if you're someone that has watched my videos for a long time, you might be used to this image on the screen, and this is my evidence that shows that this conversation in the carriage did actually happen in Season 1, and the reason for that is because of this exchange that Subaru and Aldebaran have. Subaru comments that Anastasia has a Kansai dialect, and he goes, "Are you kidding me?" Okay? Then look at Aldebaran's response. No joke, he says, "Evidently, everyone in Western Kararagi speaks that way." How would Ao know what a Kararagi accent is? How could he respond to Subaru like that? Look at Subaru's eyes. He's obviously looking at Aldebaran. But Subaru doesn't have a shocked reaction. That's because, at this point, Subaru already knows that Aldebaran is from Earth. Because they've already had that conversation, it was just cut off screen. It just wasn't on screen. This is the evidence for it in Season 1. If you don't believe me, go back and watch the episode. This is all true. Now, as you can imagine, there's quite a lot of drama surrounding this information being released in a random short that most people are not going to be watching. How many people do you know watch the 3-minute long chibi ReZero episodes? Not many. So a lot of people are upset, and you can see one of the tweets here. I actually do agree with this sentiment. On screen you can see a filler character that was from the Lost in Memories ReZero phone game. So you would assume she's non-canon, right? Well, that's wrong. She's now canon to the main story of ReZero because she appeared in a ReZero side story. This is Alec Hoshin, the legendary Hoshin of the Wastes that was mentioned in Season 3, Episode 1? Well, if you want to know about him, you have to look at the Isekai Quartet movie. The Isekai Quartet movie, where that was his first reveal, by the way. A random side story, which was not even ReZero, it was Isekai Quartet. Do you want to learn about how Subaru beats women? Namely Echidna? Well, too bad. You have to be in Japan and you have to buy every single Season 2 ReZero Blu-ray DVD, and then once you buy them all and you submit all of your coupons, you get the elusive Greed If light novel, which contains the information about Subaru beating women, and it also contains extra lore, which most of that is unknown to a majority of the ReZero audience.